Today we're going to be doing a shave with a straight razor and some soap. We'll get into those shortly. As I said, I just come out of the shower and the very first thing I'm going to do is my brush is wet, but I'm just going to quickly rehydrate my armpits, and that's going to be obviously quite funny for you guys, but I use a loom as an antiperspirant. It works extremely well. And I don't use any canned stuff, so no more sweaty stuff. What I'll do is when I'm done, I'll use a bit of cologne or a bit of aftershave just as a body scent. Right, the brush I'm going to use is a 27mm ball brush or Omega 98, most of you guys know them. This one's very soft. The soap I'm going to be using is MIYAQI. This soap is made by Fernando at Master Soap Creations. You guys will know him, even the international guys. A very good soap and scent from them. Excellent for daily straight razor shaving. In any case, Fernando made this one. This I got gifted along with the Witch Hazel aftershave splash from Toots at Old School Shaving. I hope I got that right. I'll put the link in. He's a very good friend of mine, so we're going to use that. And the razor we are going to use is a Bismarck. This is a 7/8 straight razor, so it's a quite large one. It's got an American point, so it's fundamentally square, but the corners are rounded. So it's not a round point, it's not a square point, something in between. That's what I'm going to be using today. So, something that a lot of new guys find challenging is lathering. So how I do it is I load from the tub. This brush, you'll see, soaking wet. I get rid of 80% of the water. There's nothing coming out. And then I start loading softly. Now this brush is a bit of a lather hog. So I'm going to load for at least a minute just to get enough soap into this massive knot. So why wet shaving? Well, I started, well, let me first go back. I started my career in IT many years ago, and back then you need to be clean shaven every day. And I've got a very sensitive skin, quite a dense beard, and the disposable stuff really is not good for my skin. Eventually in IT, I was not a lot more customer facing at some point, and that meant that I could skip on the shaving. And during that period I used hair clippers to keep the beard short. I didn't shave. And the reason for that is I've got very thin curly hair. They grow in easily, so ingrown hairs and stuff like that's given for me. And that's why I just trim the beard. As long as the hair is above the surface, then you won't get ingrown hairs. Then I started doing customer facing stuff again. I needed to shave, and I switched to electric, and really not great. And then I started just growing a bit of a semi-beard. And then I discovered wet shaving, and everything's gone away. So, briefly my story. I want to put a bit more on my face. So guys, instead of bowl lathering, I do on my face. So, managing soap's always difficult, so I put a lot of it on my face while I load, and then I make sure the brush is properly loaded, and then I start lathering, and you'll see I add a lot of water to get to where we need to be. Now I've loaded a lot because I don't want to make a mistake, and this brush can be thirsty. I'll be doing a 2-pass shave. and we can quickly talk about that. So the first thing I do is, before that, is just spreading all of the soap suds evenly. And then I slowly start working it. So my problem areas is in my neck, especially on the right hand side underneath my jaw, this side on my neck, the left side on my jaw and chin. So once you've got the soap nicely spread, now it's time to start hydrating that. So I load a lot of water on the brush, slowly mix it with the soap, and then work it through the engine and repeat until I've got the consistency I want. These soaps take a lot of water, they're very slick, so don't be shy. Skin preparation, incredibly important. If your skin's not healthy, you haven't prepped the surface correctly, got rid of all the oils, lifted the beard, old and dead skin, and left a smooth surface to work on, you know, doesn't matter what you're going to use, your shave's going to be tough. So what I do is I soap and try and scoop most of the soap back into the core of the brush for last time. And then quickly add a little bit more water. If you live in an area where you've got hard water, you can either add citric acid to the water to soften it up, or the other thing is just to load double the amount of soap and spend a lot more time lathering. The water here, I don't even know what it's like, but I assume it's not hard because I get a good lather. Okay, so I've got plenty on here, plenty on my face. I'm only going to do a 2-pass shave, so we'll step into that. Now, this side of my face is not really greatly covered, this side is. I'm not worried about that because I'll show you guys how I do it. Here we go. I start against the grain in my neck and I make sure I've got some alum nearby because the soap is incredibly slippery. And then with a very light touch, slow deliberate overlapping strokes. Slowly work at a 45-degree angle through my neck. At this point in time, I'm doing some stretching. And what I've learned is, look at this, nice little lather going here. I've learned on my neck that when I stretch, it lifts a lot of the hairs up, but a lot of them it also pulls back in, if I can put it that way. So you'll see I do another pass and I don't do a lot of stretching. I try and actually keep it relaxed and I change the angle, and that way I get BBS. Okay, so I've done the neck here. Here I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to do this side of my neck. I like doing the neck first because I started on the neck. So my focus on the angles were already on my neck, so I don't want to switch. I want to continue down that path and now tackle the other side. Now this is a bit more than a day's growth. Now, a lot of the time the razor will take soap away from areas and you would think you've shaved there if you look at the lather spread, and that's not always the case. So be diligent and make sure you cover the area correctly. The more effort you put on the first pass, the better it gets subsequently. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly put down this razor, and I'm going to add a small little bit of water to the bristle tips, just to really hydrate things again. And now we're ready to tackle the top half. So the top half, I do a modified something. Let's call it a modified across the grain. Not quite, you'll see why. So this was fundamentally actually against the grain and some of it across the grain, and this was obviously with the grain, but on my second pass everything's going to be across the grain, against the grain. If I'm like this, the scales can press against my arms. That's the way I stretch. For me, that's difficult or cumbersome. So I've learned that you can use a razor in various different configurations, and this is actually quite a cool one. Because the scales on the inside of the edge, it's like a counterweight and gives you some nice leverage and forward movement on the edge. My upper lip, I get the best results by stretching a lot and tightening my lip over my teeth and gums. So what we're going to do is wash and repeat on the other side. Sorry for the silence, I'm just focusing here. I've got a tendency to increase pressure as I go along, and if I don't focus on that correctly, I sometimes do a bit of skin exfoliation. All right. So, I'm not really done. I'm just quickly gonna wet my skin and feel for spots where I've missed. And then, with a very light touch, like shaving dry, just quickly catch them. Alright, so for me, that was the first pass. Now, against the grain, I can feel hairs here on my lip, chin, surprisingly little in my neck on the left hand side, and surprisingly little on my right hand side, which is always the most difficult. Okay, second pass. We're 18 minutes into this shave, so I want to try and conclude in less than 25. This is the last bit. So once again, you don't need a lot of lather. This stuff is incredibly slick. I've left a lot of my brush because I want to have some for post-shave. Here, I'm just supporting the skin and trying to be relaxed. I'm not stretching to get that last bits of hairs. I'll drop my chin even, so they call it bullfrogging. This is where natural stone edge really excels, because it's comfortable and friendly. Under my chin also very relaxed on the second pass. As light as possible. So there I was just hunting for the last couple of stubborn hairs. Now the other side of the face. And I can't believe it, there's very little hairs left, which is fantastic. Which means my approach is working. The lightest of touches. Alright, so this is still very good, this lather here, but I've got plenty, so let's just quickly just hydrate this. This is what the stuff should look like, not yogurt. The softest of strokes. So let's quickly finish up here. All right, I think that's going to be it. Fantastic. My razor, I with my fingers make particularly sure I get the soap off the edge. Like you strap, fingers away from the edge. And then rinse it under hot water to make sure everything else comes off. Give this a good shake, wipe it down on a towel, and I use a hair dryer just to make sure. I'm not going to do that immediately because I want to wrap up the shave and stick within the time. It's already 25 minutes. So for me is the extra soap, skin moisturizer. You can quickly feel here if you've missed any hairs, and you can quickly grab them. I'm gonna rinse this brush. There we go. I'm gonna wipe this off partly, and then with cold water I'm just going to you may stop now. Just leave the soap very wet on my face for a moment, and I'm going to pack away my soaps, clean up, and I'm going to be using the Splash Witch Hazel and Rose Water base. This is a citrusy scent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Really love it. Very soft wool towel. Thank you, Laz. That towel is absolutely awesome. Make sure your hands are dry. You don't want to introduce any contaminants or wetness, additional moisture into the witch hazel. Excellent no sting, which means that shave went excellent. Guys, now that's me. I'm going to dry my razor, strap it, put it away, make sure the witch hazel absorbs into my skin. This is actually already nearly in and dry. And then I'm going to use a day cream, Avon's day cream, very, very good. My wife is a skin specialist. If she says it's good, then it's good. So I use that. Thank you for your time. Hope you guys learned something. See you later.